What's good, people? Welcome to another episode of RNS. We are back. We are wearing sunglasses, and for those that have noticed, we've swapped sunglasses because, you know, we're trying to get that sunglasses deal.
Yeah, man. Sunglasses heart, hit us up.
Not it. Yeah, sunglasses heart, Ray-Bans, hit us up. Gay Insect sunglasses, hit us up. Wherever you make sunglasses, hit us up. But yeah, man, as long as you don't lose these sunglasses, I'll be appreciative.
Don't lose them ones either, bro.
Brother, I'm the one that's not infamous for losing sunglasses. It's you. Yeah. Come on, I didn't just say it for no reason.
Yeah, I lost so many.
Exactly. So
many Ray-Bans as well. Yeah, about 5 Ray-Bans.
So now you see my way there. So nigga, don't lose these.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about sunglasses. Let's talk about. I was gonna say Sunshine and Ryan. Enough about Sunshine and Ryan. That's we'll release that episode on Patreon one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we were talking. There's not really much going on in the Premier League at the moment. This is the first time in a while. I was saying this to Troy Deeney, actually. He was saying, just before we done the Lyon United game, he was saying, he's just like, I feel like everyone's just on the beach really at work. And I said, because like, he's like, it's the business end of the season. Like, this is where, and I said, you're right. But there's no jeopardy in the Premier League.
No.
Like, title's done. Top 4 race or top 5 race, no one even cares. Relegation's done. Like, there's no jeopardy in the Premier League. Like, we've got, Champions League and Europa. That happens every year. What's new? But yeah, there's no jeopardy. So we thought, you know what? Let's go back into the evergreen content. Let's go back into the history of the Premier League. So we thought to ourselves, this is a discussion we've had a long time ago, and for a long time. We said, what is the best individual team ever in the Premier League?
Yeah, and it's a good conversation because there's so many runners and riders, right?
Yeah.
Your team's got so many iterations of great teams. I think Chelsea have got a couple of them. I think Liverpool, will come on to Liverpool in a bit. They've got one. Arsenal have obviously got the Invincibles. And it kind of like, it sparked. We were chatting, and Jose Mourinho and John Terry did an interview with the Telegraph talking about how they believe the 04-05 Chelsea team were way better than the Invincibles. And I got the quote here from John Terry, and he goes, I'm going to be very, very controversial, but I don't think there's any comparison between Chelsea 04-05 and the Arsenal Invincibles. I think we were way better. We lost one game, which we should have never lost against Man City. Which is crazy to say, right? Because
I don't think it's crazy to say.
Okay, you don't?
No, because I'm sorry, that 04-05 team conceded 15 goals. I think, even though the Invincibles, we've not seen it yet, I think it's more likely to see another Invincible team than a team that's going to concede 15 goals. I'm sorry, no one's ever going to concede 15 goals in the Premier League season ever again.
He went on to say, Arsenal drew 12 games. When I hear the debate, I think the record of losing 1, drawing 8, and only conceding the amount of goals is sensational.
Yeah.
And Jose Mourinho echoed the statement saying, Arsenal people, Man United people, Man City people, they don't give a shit about Chelsea 04-05. In the same way as us, Chelsea, we don't give a shit about the Invincibles or what they did. What matters is what we know. What we know is what we did and what we share between us.
Such a Mourinho quote, innit?
Bro, he's on smoke.
Yes.
And like, that's why he's my favourite person in football, because bear in mind he managed Man United. I
forgot.
he's a terrorist, but I love him. But it's a good debate, right? Because it's what you like. Yeah. So I think let's narrow down candidates. I think we can talk about, we've got to do it, and I know they've only got 79 points, but 99 treble winning Man United. You got to put them in there.
Why?
Because as much as we try and isolate these conversations, the same as the greatest Premier League season of all time for a player, as much as you try and isolate it to just the Premier League, what you do in other competitions impacts the Premier League as well. And I think the first team to win all 3 trophies in England, in the way they did it, all went down to the wire. Last game of the season, the thing about semi-final against Arsenal in the FA Cup, think about the Champions League final, that team's iconic. And maybe the other teams that we're going to talk about are better, but I think just to pay homage, you got to respect the 99.
No, I agree. I think now that you've said that we should take into account the other competitions, I would 100%. Because, like, again, that team it was destiny. I think when Gary, if you watch the Treble documentary, you can talk about the FA Cup 3rd round against Liverpool, the semi-final at Villa Park, the going down to the last game of the season, the Champions League final. Like, it was just destiny for us to win all the time. Like, you heard Clyde Tilsley on the commentaries, Man United score, they always score.
They always score.
Like,
iconic
line, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, go on, don't get to it. I'll put that team down there.
Which is crazy, because the 99-2000 Man United team got to 91 points 12 more points.
Which is the most we've ever had in a Premier League season.
At that time, that was a record for a Premier League season, 91 points. But we all think about the 99 team rather than the 2000 team because you won all those trophies. So I'll put that team in there. You got to put the Invincibles. You just have to because of what they achieved. It might not be top of our list, but that 03-04 season we've never seen in the Premier League before. We haven't seen it since. I would personally put Chelsea 04-05, like you mentioned, Tony. Conceded 15 league goals, got to 95 points, which at the time was the record. And just so many iconic players.
Do you think that Chelsea 04-05 team is better than your Chelsea 09-10 team? I think player for player.
Player for player, no.
No, yeah.
But no one's scoring against that 04-05 team. I just think the composition of it. You had a better Petr Cech in 04-05.
Yeah.
You had John Terry who went on to...
That was 04-05 before my man hit him in the head, right?
Yeah, before the head injury. You had John Terry who won PFA Player of the Year. You had Ricardo Carvalho who the year before had won the Champions League with Porto. Yeah. Comes and plays alongside a prime John Terry. You got Gallas and Paulo Ferreira. You just had the man for man, you're right. 09-10's better. But for me, 04-05, if I'm doing greatest individual seasons, I'll put that for Chelsea. Then you've got... I can't speak for you, but you'd probably say 07-08 Man United.
I would say 08-09.
Yeah.
Only because they've done the exact same. I guess 07-08 won the Champions League final on penalties.
Yeah.
I think 08-09 was the better team because we added. Well, not even because more dominant. Because even though the game 07-08 went to the last game of the season, which was Wigan away, but 08-09 we won the title when we drew to Arsenal at home, which was the penultimate game of the season, so there's not that crazy much of a difference.
Yeah.
And 08-09 is that we added Berbatov, we added extra players, so we had, as a squad, I think it was better because no one left, we just added.
So in that 3P era, what team are you picking to put as a candidate?
Everyone picks the 07-08 team because of what we won in the Champions League. And really and truly, if we started the right players, I think we could have beaten Barcelona 08-09, but again, another discussion for another day. But if I'm talking about the teams, like 08-09 has more squad depth than 07-08.
Yeah.
07-08 had defeat because they won the Champions League final. 08-09 doesn't get talked about because they didn't. They lost the Champions League final, and we got to the quarters in the FA Cup that year, I think, as well against Everton.
I think 08-09 as well. That team, if you win that Champions League final, goes down as arguably the greatest team of all time.
Yeah. We were already talking about it like it was the greatest team of all time.
But then I think the reason why people put 07-08 is that your best player in Cristiano Ronaldo was the best player in the world. And I feel like in 08-09, Messi was the best player in the world.
Yeah, that's when Messi decided to like boom. Yeah.
So which one?
Well, Ronaldo was still doing crazy.
Ronaldo
stuff
was still amazing
in 08-09. Like he was that free kick at the Emirates, the goal with Porto in the quarterfinals as well. That was all 08-09. So he was doing it in the Champions League. It's just because it's only literally because we just did not win that final.
So what you putting in?
As the greatest Premier League team, I would prefer 08-09 because of the squad depth.
Yeah.
But like I think for the narrative and for the video, let's just do 07-08 to make it easier.
So put 07-08 Man United in there as well as one of the candidates. And then we have to put Centurion 17-18, 100 points. Pep's second season in England, there was all the discourse that can you do it in England? The first year they finished third, and then they crashed it on everybody, got to 100 points, and nothing was the same.
Yeah.
And nothing's been the same since, really, apart from this season. So 17-18 Centurions has to be in there. And then one that scared the living daylights out of me was 19-20 Liverpool. Tony, we have to have honest conversations, right? We have to have real honest conversations.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately.
So let's just outline the candidates. So we've got the 99 treble winning team. We've got the Invincibles 03-04. We've got Chelsea 04-05. We've got United 07-08. We've got City 17-18. And we've got Liverpool 19-20. All incredible teams. All incredible teams. And it's interesting, there's one entry from each team. There's one Chelsea team, there's one Arsenal team, there's two United teams, and there's one City team. What are you saying is the best?
Team?
Team.
As a team?
Be honest.
And I'm being honest, it pains me so much to say this. As a Man United fan, it pains me. But I've never seen anything like that Liverpool 1920 team.
Same.
I've never seen anything like it.
Same.
It was, I think we don't like to have the discussion because the world was going through a global pandemic. So we had bigger fish to fry. But I'm sorry, in 27, what was it, 28 games, 27 wins and 1 draw.
Bro, it was 29 games.
Oh, the 29, so 28 wins and
27 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss.
No, but so before they lost.
Oh, before they lost.
It was 28.
Okay, so yeah, 28. Yeah.
27, and that only draw was
to Man
United in October at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Honest, I've never seen anything like it.
Same.
It was insanity. And it wasn't just a random season, because we kind of saw this coming. Because the season before, they'd won the Champions League. They finished on 98 points, which was absolutely ridiculous. And then they said...
97, wasn't it?
Or 97, yeah. And City won it on 98.
Yeah.
And then... So bear in mind, they should have... should have won the league. And then they said, you know what, okay, next season, in the words of Lethal Shooter, I understand it now. And then they just decided to just crash it on everyone. And
like it.
the thing is with City and Liverpool at that time, when they were JJing, even though they weren't really JJing for the league, but like, okay, let's say those 2 years they were JJing for the league. When City beat you, it was like a slow poison. It was like, it felt like a training session to them. You wouldn't get the ball, it was 2-0, but it felt like a 5-0. But with Liverpool, you sit down, you're ready. You look there, you look back, and they're 3-0 up. And you're thinking, what the hell has just happened? And they just done it from August to, and it obviously, the pandemic stopped, February? So like
March, yeah.
Or March, and that's when the games finished. But they just crashed it on everyone. And it took Troy Deeney and Ismail Assar, shout out to them, man, to like help us out. But honestly, if it wasn't for that global pandemic, and then after the pandemic, like they lost a few games, but no one cared, the league was already done.
They got to 99 points.
I'm really intrigued that they fumbled it, and plus we had a pandemic, so no one really cares.
They lost after the pandemic, lost 2-1 against Arsenal, lost I think 4-0 against City. Like their man was just on the beach.
On the beach.
Like, then the world was ending as well. But then that 1920 Liverpool team, I was looking at the numbers. So they got to 82 points before the world ended.
82 points by March is... You used to win the league with 82 points. 82 points by March is absolute insanity.
They were on track to get 108 points, like based on their trajectory.
You can't even... That's so hard to do on Football Manager.
Bro, it's... On Football Manager, on your best, when you're in the midst of being the greatest manager of all time, Football Manager, you're not getting to 108 points.
And it's like... Unfortunately, and thank the Lord Jesus Christ for this, I don't want to thank the Lord for the pandemic, but the pandemic happened. So that's why we don't really take into this team, because I'm sorry, if there was not a global pandemic, there will be no argument, because what we saw, we've not seen it since, and we will never see it again. There's not going to be anyone, like, you can go unbeaten in 28 games, that's fine, that happens, we've seen it. Winning 27 out of 28, winning. So not only just like, oh, we didn't lose, we beat you. Everywhere they went, they won.
They won.
It was absolute insanity.
Totally.
And really and truly, like Old Trafford, like Dan James and Rashford scored that goal on the counter attack, and then even still Adam Lallana just came on and just got the equaliser, and we just prayed to get that draw. I've never seen anything like it, and it pains me to say, because honestly, I don't even think individually
that's what I was going to say.
I think individually the team low-key sucks.
The midfielder. Think about how quickly Fabinho fell off. Think about when Adam's good.
Where's Gini Wijnaldum now?
Exactly.
And I like Gini Wijnaldum.
Jordan Henderson's playing at Ajax, arguing journalists. Like the midfield was functional. Obviously, the front three was special. We know how good Mo Salah is. We know how good Mane was, and Firmino was just the linking piece between. But Firmino was not really that guy before Jurgen Klopp came in. And then you look at obviously defense. I think the defense is where you kind of have to give it to him. A prime Alisson, a prime Trent, a prime Van Dijk, a prime Robertson, who Robertson now is obviously he's fallen off, but Robertson then was giving you the same amount of assists as Trent was. They'll
go, bro. Imagine your fullbacks going like they were going band for band for assists. Your fullback, bro.
Yeah,
your fullback was absolutely insane.
Honestly, like I agree with you. The hate watch for the Atletico Madrid game in the Champions League
took the whole world. It took the whole world, bro. The Morata celebrate. It took because everyone, not even. I bet like even Real Madrid fans wanted Liverpool to lose, bro, because honestly, it just felt like, okay, the league's done. They're going to win the Champions League back to back as well. Like it was just, and we needed everyone in their power to just do it for us. And it was just, that was the last game before lockdown as well. And then said, you know what? Fine, let's just tackle this pandemic head on and call it a day.
Because the power of the Premier League and the power of the brand in the Premier League, if a team in the Premier League ever went back to back in the Premier League and the Champions League, they would get called the greatest team of all time.
Man United were one game away from it.
Yeah, and they were on the brink of being called the greatest team of all time.
I'll never forget Graham Souness. Yeah. Have you seen that clip of Graham Souness?
No.
Just before the Champions League final in 2009, where he was like, this is where we knew Ronaldo was going to go. And Graham Souness, bear in mind, Liverpool legend, was like, why would Ronaldo want to go to Real Madrid? He said, Man United are coming off the back of winning a Champions League. They've just won another back to back. They've just won their third Premier League in a row. They're in another Champions League final. This is the greatest team in the world.
Yeah.
Why would you ever want to leave?
That's where you were at.
And that's where we were at that time. With the greatest manager of all time. Like, why would he want to leave?
Yeah.
And then after, obviously, 09 happened, and then we fell off, and the rest is history. But as you said, if you're a Premier League team and you went back-to-back Premier League, or even back-to-back Champions League, you're just considered the greatest team of all time. And United were one game away from that.
That's why I can understand why you say the 08-09 team, because going into that Champions League final, you must have been like, yo, we're just on the brink of
greatness, bro.
Yeah.
Life has not been the same since.
That final was crap. Fergie's got blood on his hands for that final. But okay, so let's go through the contenders. The Invincibles, I think great, right? Great for Arsenal fans. That's your thing. You got a golden trophy, whatever. But I think that you never defended it, first of all, and I think that's big. The Liverpool team didn't defend it as well, which I think knocks them a little bit. They finished 4th the next season. Yeah. And the very next season, in 04-05, Chelsea got more points than you. You didn't lose any star men. All your star men was in their prime. Henry was still in his prime. Vieira was still in his prime. Still had Campbell. And Chelsea went on to win it back-to-back. So for the Invincibles...
And they're only one game away from defeat. It was a penalty.
Yeah, penalty against Man City. Like, Paulo Ferreira gave it away. Nicolas Anelka scored a killer. I remember it so well, bro. I was like... Because you know when it's the beginning of the season and you start to see things cook, you're like, oh, well, we're here now. Because we finished second the year before. And Mourinho just made us all believe. So for me, I'm going 04-05 Chelsea. As a fan, if you want me to be objective and take everything out of it, like you said, Tony, and like you described, I've never seen anything like that 1920 Liverpool team.
As a fan, I'm going 07-08 United, or 08-09, whichever, take your pick, because, you know, that's one of the greatest United teams I've ever seen, and in the pantheon of greats, if you just throw off the names, like maybe it wasn't back then, but if you throw off the names now, you're like, oh, I'll pick this team. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going as a fan, United 07-08, but hey, Liverpool 1920, man. Listen, if a global pandemic wasn't there, I don't think this would be a debate. I've never seen anything like it.
Bro, we've never seen anything like it.
And we just put it to the side because we had bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, because people act as if like the pandemic happened for the whole season. I was like, no, we saw 29 games. And we saw 29 games of absolute dominance. I was telling you this on the phone. Like, my girl at the time just started watching football, and she was like... They're like a virus. Like, when you watch them, they're like a virus. And this was before the pandemic.
They were just all over you, bro.
They're all over you, like swarming. Like you say, from the first minute on you, Salah scoring, Mane scoring, Firmino dropping deep, Van Dijk being the greatest centre-back that we have ever seen, Alisson doing madness.
People were saying, that's when the start of getting dribbled past became a thing. I didn't know, said like back in the day, we never used to say, oh, John Terry never got dribbled past.
Yeah.
Like, no one ever dribbled past this person. Dribbled past became a stat. We had English people saying Gengen pressing. Like, it was insane, bro. It was such an insane time.
Shout out to Centurions as well, because that was huge. Getting to 100 points in the Premier League.
Yeah, shout out you, man. But then if I go band for band, like, you, man, were playing Fabian Delph left back in it. Yeah. Which, again, the start of an inverted fullback. So shout out to Fabian Delph. But I'm going to look at other City teams.
And you've got to look at the era as well,
and
right?
The treble winners. Like, you can have the treble winners over the Centurions?
Probably better than them.
Centurions?
The City treble winners are better than Centurions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's not even the greatest City team we've seen.
Yeah,
it's just the greatest feat they've done. Or maybe the treble was the greatest.
The era as well. The reason I put 04-05 Chelsea is that I look at the managers in the league, right? You had Fergie, you had Wenger off the back of thing. And for the 7 years prior, it'd just been Man United, Arsenal. You had won 4, they'd won 3.
And Blackburn.
No, but in the 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
Like from 98 up until 2005 when we won it, it was just you and Arsenal. And Super Sunday was just, it felt like every week was Man United Arsenal. That was the rivalry. And for us to come and do it in that era, when those managers still had the juice, obviously you, man, will start to fall off a little bit when we started rising. But I put that in consideration. I look at that City Centurions team, 17-18. Chelsea won the league the year before, finished outside the top 4. You, man, finished second. Jose Mourinho calls it his greatest ever achievement, but you weren't, you know, that United team, you weren't a very good team either. No, the City was just better than everyone, but it wasn't a memorable season. So that's why I put my team. And 07-08, I get it, because Chelsea still had superstars. Arsenal was still there or thereabouts. And it was in the midst of the Premier League being the best league in the world, where every year the Premier League team was in the Champions League final. When the Centurions won it, the Premier League had fallen off by then, in my opinion. But let us know what you think down in the comments. It's a good debate, right? It's what you like. There's no there's no right or wrong answer. Or it's what you like, what you see, what you don't like in regards to Liverpool. But I know what I saw, and it was insane. I know what I saw, and it was crazy. It scares me to say, bro. Yeah, it scares me to say. Because Liverpool don't have the juice like that. I think if this was another team, it wouldn't be a conversation. It wouldn't be a conversation. If it was United or... Explain what you mean when you say Liverpool ain't got the juice like that. It's because Liverpool, like, even though they've won the most
they won the most title. They have the most titles as an English club. Way more Champions Leagues than Man United, but because they won them back then, and half of the people that were there are probably not alive or coming towards the end of their life, like not coming towards the end of their life, but you know what I mean. Like it was, or before most of us were even born. We don't care, and the reason how Man United's are kind of a more famous club than Liverpool's is because we boomed at the right time in today's society. So that's why I don't think Liverpool have the juice like that. I'm not saying Liverpool like. Don't have the juice at all because they're a massive club.
But I know what you mean. In terms of the streets, in terms of discourse, they just don't have it.
They just don't have it.
Man United and Arsenal have the internet.
Yeah.
Man United and Arsenal have the internet. If Man United to win the title, it would go triple platinum. Same as Arsenal as well. It's just different when those clubs win it. But yeah, let us know. It's a good debate, man. I love the fact that Jose Mourinho and John Terry come out with chest and said, yeah, our team was better than the Invincibles, because I agree with them. They were. Yeah, the NBA season has come to an end, the regular season. We now know where everybody stands. It's been an interesting regular season. I feel like the Luka Doncic trade really injected some life into the NBA.
Yeah.
Like post the Doncic trade, I've been locked in. I've been like, okay, cool. Let me just keep an eye, because the Lakers have all of a sudden got a narrative. Then obviously Jimmy gets traded to Golden State. They've got a narrative now. The West is crazy. Houston finished second in the West, which is mental. So when you're looking at the Eastern Conference, you're looking at the Western Conference, what do you like? What don't you like?
The West is crazy. I feel like you had the Timberwolves who made the Western Conference Finals the season before, and now they just secured the 6th seed.
The Timberwolves were the 6th seed, yeah.
Yeah, they just secured the 6th seed. So it just shows how competitive the West is. I think at the start of the season, no one would have got the Rockets on the West. Like, we knew the Rockets got a young core with Sengun, Jalen Green, Easton, but even Dylan Brooks and them, man. And Amen Thompson, but no one would expect them to be second in the West. As you said, the Luka Doncic trade has just blown up the Lakers. I feel like before the trade, the Lakers were just playing. We thought the Lakers would be in the play-in, but now they're third in the West. Yeah, and that's what happens when you add a superstar like the Lakers. Obviously, OKC being the best team in the league, we've seen that they're having historical numbers, and SGA is having an MVP season. There's so many different things that have gone down. I think in the East, the only interesting thing I'll say that's happened in the East this year is, I think, the Knicks. The Knicks look a lot better.
Pistons all of a sudden becoming a good team.
Yeah, like you saw. Well, I guess because last season the Pistons had how many losses in a row, and it was and they were so bad, and they had how many losses in a row. But I feel like if you watched the Pistons, you knew Cade. Well, you know Cade is that guy. Yeah. He's a bad boy, and we just knew Cade's a bad boy. He's a bad boy, but I think he's one of
those guys.
One of the top 5 guards in the league right now.
Okay.
At the one, I would put Cade there, but. So even though, like, you saw the team, and you remember Cade even saying it post-match last season, said, we are not this bad. We are not 20. I remember him looking at the stat sheet, like, we are not, I think it was 27 they lost in a row. He was like, we're not this bad. So I expected them to become good. And in the East, it's kind of easy to get good. Yeah. Like, it's quite easy to, but the Cavs are a good team. The Knicks, they're just a bit of a surprise for me because, like, OG, when Brunson was out, OG Anunoby stepped up. Adding Karl Anthony Towns has helped. That trade helped. So there's decent narratives in the East, but ultimately, if I'm picking someone to come out of the East, it's probably still going to be the Celtics. Yeah. So that's why it's just...
You don't give Cleveland the shot.
In a 7-game series, I'm taking the Celtics. I think Cleveland have shown they're a really good regular season team, but I need to see what this Cleveland team's going to do in the playoffs. Okay. And also, I like Kenny Atkinson. Obviously, he was my ex-head coach. Like, the Cleveland has a bit of a young Nets core from back then. So, like, I've got a soft spot for them. But if I'm looking at the Celtics in the series, like, the way they've shot the free, like, the Celtics have got the most threes ever in an NBA season, and no one's really talking about it. No, I don't get serious. You know, in the words of Showtime Lakers, F Boston, innit? Yeah. So I totally get it. But at the same time, I'm just like, if I had to put money on a series between Cleveland and Boston, I'm picking Boston.
How likely do you think it is? Obviously, the West is where my eyes are at, right? Because some of the matchups are absolutely crazy. You've got Lakers versus Timberwolves, which is going to be insane. You got Nuggets versus Clippers, which is going to be a very, very good series. Obviously, with the play-in, we don't know all of the matchups yet. You've got the Kings versus the Mavs, which is probably... Oh, no, that's in the play-in. It's interesting. I really think the West is open. I think it's the most open that is the most open it's been for a long, long time. Because OKC, don't get twisted, in terms of regular season records, one of the greatest teams of all time. But there is still that thing in people's minds saying, if they come up against Jokic, do they win? If they come up against LeBron and a Luka, do they win? There's still that question there because in NBA history, before a team breaks through, you have to suffer. Whether it's Jordan suffering against Boston and suffering against the Pistons, whether it's LeBron suffering against Boston, even Golden State, that to an extent suffered a little bit, but they didn't suffer as much as like historic teams. You have to kind of suffer before you get to the promised land. And I think this OKC team haven't gone on a deep enough playoff run for me to be convinced that if they take on, and this is me saying this after me and you had a conversation earlier in the season, and I said, I'm picking OKC in the series against the Lakers. Having seen how the Lakers and OKC's last 2 games have gone in the regular season, the Lakers winning one of them and OKC winning the other one, I don't know if I'm picking OKC against the Lakers now. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. I've been speaking to my boy who's an OKC fan, and he's just like, listen, we've got all the schemes and all the stuff. He's like an OKC stan, so he's telling me like how good they are. And historically, OKC have been really good. I think defensively, they're so underrated. Being one of the best defensive teams I've ever seen.
Bro, they've got like 5 wings who can defend. Yeah. Like
and they're just stacked. And I feel like their playoff rotation is just gonna be stacked. I feel like anyone on any given night, like. Not even Jay Williams, Jay Lin, the Chinese nigga looking one. He can just randomly come up with a triple double any now and again.
Yeah.
So OKC is so stacked in that sense. I feel like they suffered when they didn't make the Western Conference Finals last year.
Yeah.
But no, they did, didn't they? No, Timberwolves. What's it called? Mavs. So when they lost to the Mavs, like obviously Luka, and that can happen. I just feel like they can make the Western Conference Finals this year. I feel like if they meet the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, it might be a different story. I think the only team that can beat OKC this year is probably the Lakers. And that's just because I feel like they have 2 top-end talents that on a game 6 or 7 when they need to rise.
Bro, don't even get twisted though. Like, Austin Reeves is a problem, bro. Austin Reeves is a big problem.
Les Tres Leches is not bad right now. Like their man are all right, and this is going to be a really interesting. You know me, Townsend Leglay's my goat, but this is going to be a really interesting playoff for LeBron because you know when back in the day, it's like I'm a LeBron stan. But I've never followed it on Instagram. But do you remember when the playoffs used to happen and LeBron used to turn off his social media at 0.30? See, even
Bro, this podcast misrepresents my position. LeBron is my favourite player of all time. LeBron is my favourite player of all time. When we have the GOAT debate, I just have objectivity. But anyway, carry on. So when
LeBron goes in 0.30 mode, he doesn't normally do it now, but there's a different LeBron from the regular season LeBron to playoff.
Of course, he's one of the greatest postseason players of all time.
Exactly. But this is the first time he's ever going into a playoff situation where he's not the first option.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say the one in 2020 where AD might have been the first option, but really and truly, he kind of wasn't. So, and really and truly, this could be a third option, LeBron. Like, LeBron can be the third scoring option in the team right now. Easily. So,
LeBron doesn't even have to get to 20 for the Lakers
to win. So,
which has never been the case, ever.
Like, this is the first time he's averaged, or in 20 seasons, it's the first time he's averaged less than 25.
Below 25.
But it was 24.4, but happens. But still, so this is the first time he's the third option. So it's going to be good because LeBron can just defensively scheme where he needs to be. LeBron's just going to be, he's the most adaptable player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Is that wherever your team needs, if you need him to give him 40, he'll give you 40. If you need him to get a triple-double, he'll have to get a triple-double. They just need him to be the third option and probably defend the bigs, right? So, and I think he can easily do that, especially in the playoffs. So honestly, I still think OKC could probably beat the Lakers, but when it's going to come, there's times where teams are normally the better teams winning the playoffs, but there's time where talent and just I'm better than you can just take over. And I feel like at the top end, the Lakers are just a tiny bit more talented in regards to Luka. LeBron is more talented than SGA and Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way the Lakers beat OKC, but if not, I have OKC taking the West.
I think that, and I know you disagree with this, but I don't think that SGA gets as many whistles in the postseason. I think the refs allow a lot more to go, and like, bro, there's a history in the playoffs of players that rely on the whistle coming up short. I think of a James Harden. I think of a Joel Embiid. When a lot of your game is predicated on getting to the line, and you get to the playoffs and the referees let a lot more go, I feel like your game suffers. And I'm not saying that SGA is going to be this player long term, because I do think he is the truth. I think he's a very, very good basketball player. But I've just seen it with Embiid and I've seen it with James Harden, where you see them flailing their arms in the air, chasing the referees down, asking for the whistle. And people threw that at Luka in terms of Luka's, but Luka's just got the shot from the outside, right? Luka's just is cash money. He's a cold-blooded killer. Like, Luka in the playoffs has been absolutely incredible. And his game translates, and so does LeBron's game, that it translates into postseason. I don't know yet if superstar SGA's game translates in the playoffs. And I feel like to translate in the playoffs, you got to have an outside shot. Because sometimes they build a wall. And sometimes, unless you're Giannis, so you can find a way to break down a wall, you're a slender guy as SGA, you're a guard. Like, I don't know if you've got the ability to break down that wall if they build it in the playoffs. So let me see, right? And maybe he proves me wrong, but I've just seen in history with these guards that are predominantly trying to get to the hoop and trying to get to the line. In the playoffs, it's a different ball game. So let's see it in that.
No, you're totally right, and I think that's a really good point when you make the people that rely on the whistle. I still think SGA is good enough to give you your 25, 30. He's probably going to be doing that in the playoffs,
Yeah.
But when he's going to have to get into the 40s to get over a team that, because Luka's moving crazy,
Luka's just dropped,
Reeves is moving crazy, or LeBron has just decided to just step up for one game and a pivotal game 5 or 6, then that's where it's going to be. If OKC need to rely on Isaiah Joe or Jaden Williams
it's a depth,
or Luguentz Dort, then that's not why you laughing at Luguentz Dort. Like,
it's just funny.
He's a great defender.
It's a funny name. Like, I'm just looking at Luka's averages in the playoffs. He averages 30 points in the playoffs. Bro, his averages go up in the playoffs. Yeah. Like, and that's when you know it's a superstar, right? Like, all of the greats, the averages go up in the playoffs when it's like, give me the ball and let me do
Travis
my
Kelce.
thing. Yeah. Exactly like that. It's like Travis Kelce, it's like Gronk. It's like these guys turn up when it's showtime. Yeah. And I just think that's going to be so tough, despite going against it earlier on in the season when you said it about the Lakers. I've just got Lakers in 5 in my head in every series, bro. I think it's going to be so hard to beat if LeBron stays healthy. I saw, bro, the LeBron
Against Dort, divorce court, home court, Lakers in 5.
Go on.
Also, I feel like all these teams have vets that have been there, done that.
Yeah.
Whereas OKC are going to have to figure it out all together.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
And that happens eventually. Yeah. And hence why they got bounced out in the second round last season.
But you got to feel some pain.
Yeah. And I felt like that's the pain they felt last season. So they know what it takes now to get to the Western Conference Finals. So don't get twisted. I do see them getting to the Western Conference Finals. It's just, if you meet a LeBron in the Western Conference Finals and Luka, then it might be a
LeBron and Luka, even a Curry, man. Like,
bro, even
someone that knows what it takes.
Would you be shocked? Yeah, and I know that Denver, they're in crisis right now. But would you be shocked if OKC met Denver and Denver went through because Jokic just went crazy? I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I would be.
If Jamal Murray's back as well.
Yeah, because it just makes a time for playoff Jamal Murray to just move crazy and then, yeah. So, no, I wouldn't be shocked. No, you're right.
So, it is a superstar-driven league. SGA is a superstar, but in your same conference, you've got LeBron James, Luka Doncic, you've got Jokic, you've got Steph Curry. On any given night, on any given series, like, bro, the Golden State team that won it in 2022 was not an amazing team, bro. Just Steph Curry being Steph Curry. Sometimes these guys... We saw it at the Olympics. We saw it in the Olympics. These are different guys. These are guys that are superhuman. I'm praying for OKC, but I think this might end in heartbreak. Quick question. If you're an NBA script writer, and Adam Silver's had his finger on the button for a little bit, he sanctioned the Luka trade, he's got something else up his sleeve. How likely is it that we get a Boston Lakers finals? Because that's what I'm here for. That's what I want.
OKC Cavs or Boston Lakers? I think those are going to be the 2 final options.
Imagine an OKC Cavs final. The ratings are going to be stinky.
I don't think it'll be stinky. Only because I watched the first regular season game of OKC Cavs, and that was a very good. Like, if I took an alien to say what is NBA basketball, I would show them that game.
It was high level.
It was high level.
Yeah.
It was intense. Someone that doesn't know basketball, or someone that doesn't even watch basketball. Let's say, okay, your typical British man that doesn't watch basketball. If I said this is NBA basketball and the way it was going back and forth, the lead changes. So I think they're a good matchup. So I don't think, but for the star power, for the stardom, for LeBron, his legacy to get his 5th ring against the Celtics.
Bro, evoke the memories of Magic Johnson versus Larry
Bro,
Bird.
I'm talking
Lakers
about the man and the Lakers, bro. Like,
yeah, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Zach's pointing to his watch. He's saying time's up. Where you got to be, bro?
No, because the man last week.
Yeah.
Didn't they get like an invoice or something about?
Oh, for so yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, Sarah got something for us being late.
Yeah. Bro.
Crazy. All right.
Another episode of RNS though. Good one. Considering there's not that much sport, I think we've done our thing. We're back next week.
We'll be back next week. Peace.